We're on the island of Lampedusa, at the very south of Italy. This is a migrant boat cemetery. Hundreds of thousands of migrants and refugees have made the perilous journey from Africa to Europe through this part of the Mediterranean. Look at the state of this boat. People smugglers can do pretty much whatever they want. One boat like this, full of people, can be worth up to $1 million.
A record number of more than 170,000 migrants and refugees arrived in Italy in 2014 in unsafe, overcrowded boats. At least 3,000 died on the way. This is by far the biggest and deadliest route into Europe. In response to the tragedies at sea, in 2013, Italy launched the only extensive search and rescue mission in the Mediterranean, called Mare Nostrum.
E Mare Nostrum è un'operazione per salvare vite umane. Il governo decise di reagire, di non stare a guardare, di non voltarsi dall'altra parte.
This operation goes in the international waters off of the Libyan coast, so they literally pick these people up, they put them on a safe military vessel, and then they sail to Italian ports.
In a year, they've saved more than 150,000 people. But politicians in Europe have accused it of creating a pull factor. So now Mare Nostrum is being phased out and replaced with a much smaller border surveillance operation called Triton.
Frontex, l'agenzia Frontex, finanzierà un'operazione chiamata Tritone che costerà poco più di 3 milioni di euro al mese e sarà finanziata con soldi europei. La operazione Mare Nostrum è costata in un anno oltre 100 milioni. Ora costerà zero.
We arrived in Italy as Mare Nostrum was being phased out.
We're at the biggest Italian Navy base in Sicily, and we're going to meet one of the captains from Mare Nostrum. Interestingly, the press guy said that we can't ask the captain any questions about Frontex, Triton, or what he feels about the mission ending. Orders from above. Hi.
Piacere.
I'm Milan.
Sono il tenente di vascello Leonardo Pietro D'Alessandro, il comandante di nave Sirica. Quindi da ottobre del 2013 questa nave ha salvato quasi 8.000 persone. Ho avuto modo di toccare con mano quella che era la reale consistenza dei flussi migratori. La missione più difficile forse è stata questa del peschereccio da 720 persone. Imbarcava acqua e le persone erano tantissime, compresse in piccoli spazi, molti addirittura erano sopra la plancia, in posti dove normalmente non è previsto che personale si possa camminare o ci si possa sedere. Quello che facciamo fondamentalmente, una volta che ci siamo accertati con i nostri sistemi ottici che si tratta di persone che necessitano di soccorso, quello che facciamo è mettere in mare subito 2 dei nostri gommoni. I nostri gommoni hanno a bordo personale medico. Questo personale medico verifica la presenza di donne e bambini o persone magari molto anziane che necessitano di essere ricoverate a bordo per prime. Il problema è sicuramente legato al fatto che le imbarcazioni sono strapiene, molto piene, sovraffollate. Ogni movimento, ogni interazione tra i miei piccoli gommoni e queste imbarcazioni può provocare la caduta a mare di persone.
With the Italian Navy's rescue capacity drastically cut down, international merchant vessels happening to be in the area were now tasked to answer migrant boats' distress calls, despite lacking training or the necessary equipment.
Do you think that it's important, if somebody's going to go out and rescue a boat in distress like that, that people know what they're doing?
L'addestramento, la capacità di poter gestire questi piccoli mezzi, la capacità di poter manovrare anche in condizioni difficili è la chiave per portare con successo a termine questo tipo di operazioni.
It's a lot to ask of a merchant vessel.
Sì. Il vantaggio di aver istituito Mare Nostrum è stato sicuramente quello di salvare molte più persone. Se Mare Nostrum non ci fosse stata, sicuramente molte persone si sarebbero comunque messe in mare e sarebbero sicuramente morte nel tentativo di arrivare in Europa.
Mare Nostrum's main mission was to save lives. It had a trained staff of 900 engaged any single day and 32 naval units at its disposal, which cost Italy €9 million a month to run. Frontex Triton, however, is primarily a border control operation, covering a smaller area and running on less than €3 million a month.
So we're about to go on a patrol plane with a Frontex pilot. Because Operation Triton is only a third of the size of Mare Nostrum, air surveillance is a huge part of their mission.
We are the first line of surveillance that there is in this operation. We try to go as far as possible into the limits of the operational area and spot any boats. The aircraft has been specifically fitted for maritime surveillance, meaning we have a surveillance radar, we have a very powerful camera system with an infrared camera as well.
In terms of patrol area, what's the difference for a plane like yours and a Mare Nostrum surveillance plane?
The operational area is just north of the Mare Nostrum area, about 40 miles west of Lampedusa and hundreds of miles north up into Sicily. It's not as far down south as Mare Nostrum.
We're patrolling the Mediterranean, searching for migrant boats. They have cameras, they can zoom down and see every single boat in the surrounding area.
We document the boat as thoroughly as we can. We take all the images, video, pictures, where it is, position and speed, where it's going, perhaps how many people are on board. And then we document this and we send all of this to the mission command that's in Rome.
Is there any activity going on at the moment?
Just before the flight, we learned that there was, I think, 5 separate cases of immigrant boats heading for Lampedusa. They are now well outside of the Frontex operational area, and I believe the Italian Navy is taking care of these boats at the moment.
We didn't spot any migrant boats during the air patrol, so upon landing, we tried to board a Portuguese Frontex ship off the coast of Lampedusa. But the waves were too brutal.
So we tried to get to the big ship today. The sea is just too rough.
Well, the sea has been rough for the past 3-4 days. In fact, the size of the height of the waves is reaching 7 meters now, so it would be very dangerous to get on board of this big vessel, which really makes you realize how dangerous certain rescue operations are, and these people do this on a daily basis. The boats that we witness coming here on the island of Lampedusa are rusty, which are completely unseaworthy. They shouldn't be in the sea in the first place, let alone with 500 people, women and children on board.
Are they wearing life jackets?
The smugglers are profit-oriented. They're basically running a zero-risk, high-profit operations. Wearing life jackets for them reduces space available on the boat. So we don't see the migrants wearing life jackets at all.
What would be needed for Frontex to be able to carry out the same kind of search and rescue missions on the scale of Mare Nostrum?
Our current mandate focuses exclusively on border control, so that would require the change of our mandate, and therefore that would be the decision of the European Commission and the European Council, as well as the European Parliament, respectively.
Triton wasn't intended to replace Mare Nostrum, but rather to assist Italy, mainly with border surveillance. The EU considers it Italy's responsibility to rescue people in its waters. So it's unlikely Frontex will get the mandate and budget to carry out the type of operations necessary to save thousands from perishing at sea. The 5 migrant boats we'd heard about during the air patrol had been intercepted, and those aboard were being taken to Sicily. So we headed there as aid workers and police prepared to receive them. We're in the port of Pozzallo in the south of Sicily, and we're about to witness what could be one of the last extensive search and rescue missions carried out by the Italian Navy. In the horizon is a ship called San Giorgio, which was used extensively during Mare Nostrum, and on board it are 863 rescued migrants and refugees, and they're currently being transferred onto smaller ships to be able to get into the harbour.
Il tempo che arriva il dottore Morabito e così vediamo, perché stiamo aspettando un altro medico.
Va bene, però si parla anche con i nostri.
Ok, vediamo quanti siamo.
People are getting out and being transferred into coaches, and hundreds more are still waiting in the big ship to be transferred.
We were not allowed near the migrants as they were undergoing medical checks and initial screening.
The coaches are here waiting to transport the rescued people. All the seats are covered in plastic bags, and there's huge sanitation, like everyone's wearing masks and hazmat suits.